The offense I have chosen to present is criminally negligent homicide. This offense is found in section 19.05 of the Texas Penal Code. A person commits an offense if he causes the death of an individual by criminal negligence. An offense under this section is a state jail felony, which carries a punishment or a penalty of a maximum $10,000 fine and from 180 days to 2 years in a state jail. The defining element in this offense is the culpable mental state of criminal negligence. To differentiate between criminally negligent homicide and manslaughter, we'll have to go to section 6.03 of the Texas Penal Code to find the definition of criminal negligence. A person acts with criminal negligence when he ought to be aware of a substantial or unjustifiable risk, and that lack of awareness is a gross deviation from the standards of care of an ordinary citizen. So is where manslaughter focuses on what the offender is aware of but chooses to ignore. Criminally negligent homicide focuses on what he should have been aware of but was not. An example of criminally negligent homicide: Dave is driving down the street. Dave is texting on his phone, or he's eating a sandwich, he's drinking his coffee, he's shaving his beard, whatever he's doing. He's not paying attention to how fast he's driving, he's not paying attention to the road signs, warning signs, and he runs a stop sign. And in the intersection, he crashes into another motorist, and that motorist is killed on the impact. To decide whether this is a manslaughter case or a criminally negligent homicide case, we would look at what he was aware of. For manslaughter to exist and for a prosecutor to prove manslaughter, Dave would have to have been aware of the stop sign and to have consciously disregarded that warning and sped through the intersection. In our example, as he's distracted by some other behavior, something he's doing inside the car, he is unaware of the stop sign, so when he ran it, he was not acting recklessly, he was acting with negligence. We would all say that he should have been aware that he was running a stop sign, or he should have been aware that he was distracted. And that would be a gross deviation from ordinary citizen behavior or action. Another example we might look at for criminally negligent homicide is someone not seeking medical attention for a sick child. Depending on the circumstances, a woman was convicted in Texas for the death of her daughter. She died of acute appendicitis. She was very ill for about a 24-hour period, maybe slightly less than that. A 24-hour period, vomiting several times, and in the night she apparently asphyxiated on her vomit and died. Her conviction was actually for manslaughter. The jury convicted her of recklessly causing the death of her daughter, which we would say is probably not accurate. And in fact, an appeals court overturned the conviction because it was not something that she was aware of, that her daughter had appendicitis, but chose to ignore medical attention or to fail to seek it. It's something that we might look at the possibility that she should have been aware that the signs, symptoms were of something more than just an upset stomach, and that could have been a more serious illness. So the failure to seek medical attention could have been considered criminally negligent. And that negligence leads to the death of an individual. We would call that criminally negligent homicide. Another important distinction in the criminal offense, a couple of words that we want to pay attention to. The offense starts off with a person commits. A person is defined as a human being who is alive. It could be a corporation or an association. So we would say that a business entity, a construction company, for example, could be held liable for the death of construction workers when they fail to perceive risks that are unjustifiable. So a building collapses because the building is not being built to code. That's something that they should be aware of or should be perceiving. So their failure to do so could be criminally negligent. So a person could be a corporation, so the corporation could actually be held criminally liable for that offense. Another word that needs to be defined is the word individual. You cause the death of an individual. And we'll go to section 1.07 of the Texas Penal Code under the General Provisions chapter, and we'll see that an individual is a human being who is alive or could be an unborn fetus at any stage of gestation from fertilization till birth. So causing the death of an unborn fetus through criminal negligence would also fit under this section.